doing a daily recap. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to January 20th, 2018, not the 1st. We got January 20th here, and you're tuning into the Breakdown Daily Recap. I am Breaky CPK, of course, and looking forward to being with you guys today. So, as far as today goes, there's several things to go over. In fact, of course, recapping more of the Galaxy battles, how things have been advancing on there. We have a roster switch of sorts. We'll get to that out of the China scene here in just a second. And also something I hadn't talked about yet on the Daily Recap, but I want to get to today. Facebook streaming announced via the ESL events that are going to be coming up. It'll only be on Facebook due to a special agreement, and I'll give my take on that whole situation and just to clarify on how it's all going to work out as well. So let's get right into it. As always, let's start with the Galaxy battles, the most recent event that's, of course, going on, being the main event, LAN event that it is, and sure, it has had its issues, but overall, it still is a pretty solid one. Things have advanced on a little bit further. And taking a look at the brackets, you see they went all the way to the grand finals, actually. I was a little bit surprised by that. Usually these double elimination tournaments, they'll play to the winner finals, and then they'll play the loser portion until maybe the loser bracket finals, and then they'll play the winner finals, and then loser bracket finals, and then grand finals, etc. So that was a little bit interesting to me. However, it does mean, mainly because the two teams that they literally played the series before against opponents and having to defeat them to get to that point, and then making them play a second series, both of them, especially in Evil Genius's case, right after they beat OG. A little unfortunate with so much on the line. But in the end, Evil Geniuses took out OG 2-0 in their series. VGJ Thunder went 2-1 against Team Spirit. Spirit did win the first game, and I thought my prediction was going to be correct there, but in the end, VGJ Thunder advanced on. As I predicted, Evil Geniuses, though, did over OG, and Evil Geniuses then went on to 2-0 VGJ Thunder in the winter finals. It looks like it was a little more extended of games, not going to lie. I didn't watch them. It was way early in the morning, and I was trying to recover on my sleep by myself there. But kind of looking at the recap, and from what I heard, it seemed like EG, even though these were longer drawn-out games, they were in fairly good control for most of it. So EG, they're in the grand finals. They're going to wait to see how things continue to play out. Again, you look at the loser now. We have some fun matches. OG versus TNC set up, and Team Spirit will play against Pain Gaming. Each in those. On Wikipedia, it does suggest these are best of ones, and I'm going to go ahead and say that should be the case because that means they'll play these best of ones here. The winners play each other, and then the winner of that will play VGJ Thunder. So that's going to be 4 games, and then wow, so they're going to play. They're probably going to do that. They're probably going to play all the losers, and then yeah, because this is the final day coming up, so it definitely is best of one, all the way into the grand final. So Evil Geniuses, they do get the nice break right there. No advantage necessarily, but again, they don't have to worry about these best of ones in the losers now. So that's how things are shaping up there. Overall, again, the production, everything, similar issues from my understanding with the audio and stuff, but again, frankly, it's been a lot better than I think people may have expected as well. Advancing on so let's talk about the roster news that came out. This is kind of the best that I could get to as a visual, but simply put, LFY as well as IG, 2 teams in China region, of course, they've decided to swap their mid players. Now, it's no secret, a lot of the Chinese organizations, they all fall under what's called ACE over there. Not all the organizations, but most of them do, and that helps control a sense of a group of the teams, making sure they're all in the same place with player contracts and everything. There's a little bit of shady stuff that goes on, and not to get too much into it, but yeah, whether or not that's for the better. Obviously, the whole Wings gaming situation exploded because ultimately of ACE. So yeah, that's another topic, though. The point is, this is no one happened in the past too, even with using subs from other teams, but they've flat out decided to swap mid players for now. So OP, he's now a part of LFY, and Super is now a part of Invictus Gaming. So both of these teams have, I don't want to say they've been struggling necessarily. In fact, LFY, they did qualify for the ESL 1 Katowice event, or Genting, excuse me, and I believe they qualified for Katowice, if I'm not mistaken. But they're going to be playing in Genting, so OP, all of a sudden he's going to be playing at the event. Invictus Gaming, again, picking up Super. Both of these mid players are very good players, so especially, frankly, I like OP a lot. I think he's definitely one of the stronger players I've seen out of that region overall in the big scheme of things. So I was a little bit surprised to see from that perspective, but, players behind the scenes, who knows if there's some drama there, etc. whatever it is. But simply put, now they wanted to make it clear it is a trial, so they very likely could then go back to their respective teams, apparently. But they're seeing how it works out and seeing if it will be for the better of possibly both of the teams even. So that's kind of an interesting note on the China scene, and some roster switches. Again, OP for Super between LFY and IG. Let's talk about this now. Facebook, this happened a couple of days ago. I just hadn't got around to mentioning it here on the Daily Recap. Facebook, though, more so ESL, they officially announced that Facebook is the new main broadcasting platform for CSGO Pro League and ESL 1, which essentially is the Dota 2 division as well. Obviously, this caught a lot of people off guard, to say the least. Now, there was a lot of initial reaction, and even mine to an extent was, come on, really? They're doing it on Facebook? But what is something that I feel like whenever this happens, there's been attempts at this in the past with the YouTube live stream especially. I know people have used like Twitter stream as well, and even to a point where they're making that's the official broadcasting platform. Hell, in another game, completely Overwatch League, up until the very last week before it was going to launch, there was no deal done, and there was a possibility it wasn't even going to be on Twitch because of that. In fact, the preseason wasn't on Twitch, actually, which caused a lot of uproar. Now, again, naturally, I get why people have that reaction, because people, at least involved in our scene in the esports world, you think esports, you think broadcast, you think Twitch. They just go in correlation. That's what Twitch essentially came up from. But as we've also found it over time, other streaming platforms have really tried to break in more and more, especially YouTube, and now Facebook in this case. But Twitch has also become more of an overall streaming platform as well. That they've kind of gone away in a lot of ways from just being a gaming platform to now the IRL section, eating, social eatings groups that they have, etc. Like, there's all these different sections that they encourage. In fact, later on tonight, I'm going to be broadcasting an NBA G League game, which is a developmental league for the NBA, on Twitch, because that's something else that they're trying now, and they're encouraging other streamers to kind of re-stream that stream and, cast it yourselves. So traditional sports even can become more reality. Simply put, my point is things are changing. Things evolve, things adapt, and just because we've known Twitch for so long as the gaming streaming service doesn't necessarily mean it is the ultimate answer, and it should always stay that way. Competition is great, as it always go back to, and I'm willing to at least give this a shot. Now, will it be great? I frankly don't know. I personally haven't watched streams on Facebook really ever. I know they've had the capabilities for a little bit, and I've done some Facebook streaming myself on a personal level. I'm sure many of you have. And overall, it's been pretty good, but, maybe it'll turn out great. Who knows? But obviously, people are going to miss the chat, which, again, that I understand. That kind of helps bring the community together, or there are plenty that do enjoy that, but there's also plenty that don't even look at chat at all. Personally, I am one that does appreciate chat, and that, I think, is the one thing I definitely will miss, but, hopefully these other platforms realize that more and more. I know YouTube has enhanced it a little bit themselves. Facebook, they already have kind of, they do have a chat, of course, and their own kind of email. It's not nearly as many as Twitch has, obviously, but the point is, competition's good. I think is the strongest thing to suggest here, and even if it doesn't go the greatest this coming event for ESL, there will be improvements that are made, and we're talking about Facebook, guys, one of the, if not one of the biggest companies in the freaking world, for Christ's sake. So I don't see this as negative really on any level necessarily. I see this as ultimately what will be for the better, even though in the now it just seems like a little bit, it's catching people off guard, again, like I admit myself when I first saw this. But really calming down, thinking it over, I do think that this could be for the better. Very curious to see how it kicks off this weekend with the Genting event and then into the Katowice event that is. So that's all I'm going to ask, people that are tuning into this, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on this whole situation of the announcement. Moving on, Epicenter, the Open Qualifiers are currently taking place, I believe, so I figured it was worth at least mentioning that. We have the invited teams from each of the regions. You look at NA, Complexity, Optic, Immortals, and Evil Geniuses. The 4 invited teams, the rest are via Open Qualifiers. Again, 4 teams for spots right there. So I believe it's the same for pretty much every region. Europe, yeah, they haven't been announced yet, but those are going to be there. CIS, same thing. China, same thing, and Southeast Asia looks like the same thing as well. So, yeah, I like this format. We've already talked about that, of course, in a couple of these daily recaps ago. But this is a major event coming up. I don't necessarily think it needs to have open qualifiers, but I'm glad that they are. I think if you can fit it in, and Epicenter's been around for a while, they run great events, they know what they're doing. I think it's cool to see that they do have these open qualifiers. In fact, 4 spots, quite a bit. And whether or not that's good, I think frankly they could have gone away with 2 spots and had 6 invited teams, like North America especially. You still have Animal Planet and VGJ Storm that aren't in this, and they have to qualify via the open qualifiers. I'm a little curious. I don't know if I agree with Immortals anymore being an invited team. They really have dropped off. They had Forev leaving, of course, then MSS stepping in. Then QO announced very recently here that he's stepping down. Immortals pulled out of a qualifier. They've been going through some stuff, and frankly, their results have been kind of rocky. So I think VGJ Storm and definitely Animal Planet are very worthy invite spots over a team like VGJ Storm, or excuse me, like Immortals. But it's done. This was probably done a while ago as well, I'm sure, not to really break this down too much. So there's that. And then one last piece of information I wanted to go over was this frankly unfortunate news that was announced. The Russian player named Flo has been diagnosed with cancer. This tweet came out yesterday by the team, I believe. He plays for Double Dimension, if I'm not mistaken, or played for. And there was actually a post here from a translation of sorts, or Team Empire actually posted this on their Facebook as well. Essentially, he was diagnosed with germogenic cancer of the unfavorable prognosis groups. Prognosis group. So, simply put, it sounds like it's quite advanced as well. So I really don't want to get too much. I'm frankly not a doctor by any means. So, but he is going to have the tumor cut out. Apparently it's 21 centimeters in size, which is a pretty good size right there. But the point is they are asking for donations from the community. So that's what I wanted to get at ultimately. It's obviously whenever something like this happens within somebody in the community, Flo maybe not necessarily the most popular player ever, but still he has competed at a top-tier level for a little bit now in the CIS region specifically. And, whenever hearing something like this, it does suck. And so a heart definitely goes out to him and, his supporting family and everything. And if you feel like you do want to donate, there is opportunities out there, all sorts of information you can look at and do if you please. So, best of luck to him, of course, and hopefully we get some positive updates moving forward here. So, all right, guys, that pretty much covers the daily recap, though, for today, January 20th, 2018. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. As always, let me know if you have any feedback, any information, etc., and we'll go from there. Until next time, guys, we'll see you then.